We're going to go ahead and get started now, even though we're a little bit late. And just like a musician, especially a guitar player, I'm lousy at reading sheet music. So instead of starting with the regular rotation of stuff, we're going to start with a short video. Eric, the next 8 minutes is all for you. Okay, bud?
Okay. All right.
Just another sunny Thursday in Yakima, Washington at the Convention Center, where normally the Rotary Club of Yakima would be having its regular meeting. What makes this particular year different? Oh gosh, I don't know. Locust, plague, maybe something called COVID-19. But I don't think we're going to be going inside anytime soon. Hey, Eric. I don't think any of us expected a year like this to end this way. It's too bad we're not inside these doors right now, but I'm sure that a few people will show up and express their thanks for how things have gone this year. So let's stand by and see who shows up.
Absolutely. I've got a lot to say about Eric. So Eric, congratulations on making it to your very last meeting, because a lot of times we're not sure if you're going to make it or not, honestly, because you travel so much. But I wanted to let you know that the first time you came to me a year or so ago, after you were starting your presidency year, you asked me what one of the most important things that you needed to know being a Rotary president and running meetings. And I said, Eric, the most important thing is to make sure you end on time. Eric, we're now even in the Zoom era, and you still have trouble ending your meetings on time. Congratulations on that accomplishment. I also wanted to let you know, Eric, that it's been such a pleasure being able to work with you. And one of the best highlights of my presidency year was when I received my past president's pin. And I'm wearing it today in honor of you, because you will be receiving the 101st past president's pin for Yakima Rotary today. I don't know when we're going to get it to you, but you're going to get one. So congratulations. You've done a marvelous job, and you are a great example to all of us here in Yakima. And I just look forward to giving you a big hug when all of this is over. Oh, by the way, for the first time in 3 months, I actually put on lipstick today for you so that I could wear a mask to do this taping. So that's something special. Thanks, Eric.
So I wonder, oh, here comes somebody right now. Who could it be? From 6 feet away, it's Charlie Eglin.
Hey, everybody. How are you, Doug? Good to see you. So we're celebrating Eric Silvers and his presidency for Rotary this year. And I just want to say what a great job he has done. It's tough being a Rotary president anyway, but then when you add on the coronavirus and all of the restrictions we've had this year, he has done an amazing job of keeping our club going and getting our members involved in the community and helping out others so much as is needed around our town here. So I applaud Eric for all he's done and wish him the best.
And what have we here? Why, it's David Hargraves. How are you, buddy?
Good to see you.
Good seeing you. You doing well?
I am grand. This COVID thing is starting to get to me, though.
Well, at least your mask matches your shirt.
Absolutely. It's all about style.
Would you care to say a few things to Eric?
I would. Eric, what a job. Absolutely incredible. When you asked me for advice, I said, whatever you do, don't drive the train off the track. You not only didn't drive the train off the track, you built a transportation system that brought this club things that we've never seen before. Your leadership is exemplary. And Esther, I know you were the brain trust. You were the power behind the throne, so thank you for sharing this great man. Eric, congratulations on a great year, brother. Absolutely outstanding. You made this club and this community a much better place. Congratulations.
Well, it is another lovely day in Yakima, and I know that we're looking forward to seeing who else might have something to say about Eric. And well, look at that, it's past President Darrell Blue. How are you, Darrell?
Morning, Doug. I'm fine. How are you?
Great. Would you care to say a few things about Eric to the crew?
You know I would. I'd like to tell Eric and tell the audience how much I've enjoyed this year, having a chance to get to know Eric a lot better. In fact, Eric and I talk on the phone a lot. He calls me a lot. We talk about, just a second, just a minute. My phone's ringing. I forgot to turn it off. Oh no, it's Eric. Just a second. I'll see if I can get rid of him. Hey, listen, Eric, I'm kind of busy right now. You're what? You're what? Oh, okay. He says it's really important, so let me see what's on his mind here. Yeah, okay, go ahead. I understand. Yeah, okay, yeah, your year as Rotary President's about over. That's right. And what? I see. He says he's kind of gotten used to having a seat up at the head table, and he kind of would like to have a few more times at the head table so he could say something to the club if he wanted to. Okay. Yeah, and what would you say to the club, Eric? We're a big club in a small, I think everybody knows that. Just a second. I'm going to have a hard time getting rid of him because he's really on this thing, but he wants to sit at the head table. Eric, this is going to be Jennifer's year, and I think it would be kind of a distraction if you were up there. And what? No, once you've been president of the club, you have to sort of sit out in the audience and share the lunch with everybody just like all the rest of us. Just a minute. I'm going to have to think of something else to tell him here. Well, Eric, you could do what past President Rick King suggested. You could run for district governor. And what? He says he's heard the past district governors don't fade away, they just accumulate. Yeah, you're right, and past presidents do too. Well, I'll tell you, Eric, just suck it up and come out and sit in the crowd with the rest of us. Most people will let you sit with them. Okay, see you later. Bye.
So once again, not your typical day at Rotary, I guess. But with that auspicious start, let's go ahead and get started with our regular program. And as you know, at this meeting every year, all of the past presidents are your greeters. And that includes Kurt Laberton, Greg Luring, who is also a past district governor, Ken Marble, Rick Pinnell's in the house. You just saw Darrell on tape there. John Atkinson is with us, Craig Mendenhall, Jim Berg, and our current district governor, Peter Schultz from the Kelowna area. Welcome to all of you. If any of you wanted to say a few words, maybe we could uncrack them, Dwayne, and allow some of our past presidents to say hello.
Eric, this is Rick, and I just got to tell you, this virtual thing just doesn't work with us old guys. I miss attending your meetings. You gave me so much energy, your passion for Rotary. I just left those meetings with so much energy. So it's been hard not to seeing you live with that passion. And I really appreciate the passion you brought to Rotary. I think it was infectious to all of us. So congratulations, Eric. A great, great year. You ought to be very, very proud of what you've done.
Thanks
Rick. Again.
How about
Eric,
a few more?
it's Bill Wheeler. I want to also congratulate you. You've done a fabulous job. It's a shame that we can't all be together in real life instead of on the screen here, but thank you for all you've done. You've done a wonderful year. You've instilled a lot of good ideas and certainly enthusiasm. So congratulations and enjoy. We'll look forward to seeing you when we get back into the real Rotary meeting. So thank you very much.
How about one more before we keep moving?
Hi, Eric. This is Greg. Eric, just let me add my congratulations to a super year. And I just have a fun story to tell about Eric that really talks about his character and his passion and how much he loves Rotary. So he asked me to come to his church. This was right before he took office, and explain to his church and his congregation what Rotary is all about. What does it do? He said that my folks haven't been exposed to Rotary. So I said I'd be happy to do that. And before I came, I asked Eric if he'd give me some background and about his life and his lifelong accomplishment. And Eric looked at me like I was crazy. He very seriously said, but yet in a modest way, I don't want you to talk about me. I want you to talk about Rotary. I want you to tell them about the big impact Rotary has in Yakima and throughout the world. And so that was starting off your year, and you're absolutely right. Rotary does have a big impact, and this year you led the way.
Thank you very much, Greg. I do appreciate that. And we're going to have some other past.
I would
Go
like
ahead,
to
Jim.
say something. May I?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. This is on a little bit more serious note. Eric, the great messages that you have given to our club the last 2 weeks, adding your dialogue to the Black Lives Matter issue, have been tremendous. It is indeed sobering from my perspective to hear you say and tell all of us that your own doctor said that he could not allow you, a Black man, to handle his insurance business. Your sharing that information caused me to think about your decision to join Rotary, and more importantly, your decision to accept the offer to become our president. It took great courage on your part to assume a major leadership position when some might not like it, only because you are a Black man. Eric, I thank you for your courage, for the honorable way in which you have performed your service this year, and for the great year you have led. We are all better for it. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for that, Jim. And we are going to have other opportunity later in the meeting for our other past presidents to say a few words as well. That was beautiful. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce you to everybody to Josephine Howell. And you may not remember her by name, but you certainly will remember her by face and voice. Josephine did the inaugural song at Eric's first meeting and also sang later on in the year during February. Josephine, would you care to say a few words about Eric and introduce today's song?
Yes, I would like to say first and foremost, hello, my friends. How are you doing, Eric and Esther?
Hello.
I was so grateful to get the call to be a part of this, because you are an incredible man. What goes on behind closed doors when no one can see, and where you don't get all the fanfare and the glory, really shows the character of a man. And I don't blow smoke up people's behind. So I'm just gonna be real. The fact that your passion about not just your life, but the lives of others, your concern about how you and your family, because it's never just you taking off, because you bring your family along. And that's why I love Esther so much. She is there, present, always. But you desire to be an active, important part of life, period. You care genuinely. And to see you be uncomfortable when people want to hold you up, because you know, truthfully, you do deserve to be acknowledged. You will stand when no one else will stand with you. Esther will stand with you. Your boys will stand with you. But if nobody else goes, you'll go. That really speaks about your character. So the song that is going to be presented today, and thank you for introducing me to Rotary over there in Yakima, because you speak so highly of it. I'll be like, man, you know, I do like living over on this side, but I might want to go over on that side. So you, the song that is coming is a song written by my daughter, Shaye. And it's Rise Up. And it speaks about how you live your life. You go forth, but you always have room to bring somebody along with you. I love the fact that you want us all to rise up. I love the fact that you would speak truth, even when it's uncomfortable. I love the fact that you take time to check on people. And I just want to throw this out there to you all. I had COVID-19 for like 3 months, and Eric would check on me and make sure that I'm okay. And our conversations, when I got off that phone, I'm not gonna cry. It would take me to a place where I could weather the storm. Thank you for caring enough to check on me. So this song is Rise Up. I know you will always rise up, but I promise you this. If you get tired along the way, and Esther gets tired, you got the Howe family will hold you up. All right. Great job this year, but I don't expect anything less. Great job. And I look forward to what you're about to do.
For those who take a walk with me to live back in our history, all rise, to face the past that we must dread, to use our strength and lift our head, all rise up, please stand up. When will we rise up? Stand for those who fell for us, live for those who died for us. When will we rise up? For those of us who walk with me to live back in our history, all rise, to face the past that we most dread, to use our strength and lift our head, all run, to face the past that seems so near, to conquer all our hidden fears, all rise up, please stand up. When will we rise up? Stand for those who fell for us, live for those who died for us. When will we rise up? When will we rise up? Stand for those who fell for us, live for those who died for us. When will we rise up? When will we rise up? Stand for those who fell for us, live for those who died for us. When will we rise up? When will we rise up?
Wow. Josephine, you did your daughter proud. That was gorgeous. Thank you for being here today. Whew, okay, calm down, Hart. Okay, next up is our invocation, and I would like if Esther Huey could please come to the virtual podium to say a few words about Eric and give us an offering.
I think I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are.
All right. Well, you know, 1 year ago, I stood in front of you guys and I told you that you were in for the best year ever of Rotary. And I cautioned Eric not to let me down in saying that. So I'm proud really today to end this with him again and say that, Eric, you've done us proud. You've done an amazing job in an amazing year. And I know it hasn't been easy because we've had so many things to contend with, but you have done a marvelous job. And I think this recognition will show you just how much we like what you did and what the contribution was to Rotary, but not only to Rotary, you were a good example to the whole community as you did that. And to your African American community, we lift you up, as Josephine said, because we need our young people to see that we can. And I just really appreciate everything that you've done to do that. And certainly I appreciate what you've done for one of my loves, and that's the Martin Luther King Jr. Park. That's a park that has such history for me for over 60 years. And I am so looking forward to when we can go back to that park and look at those marvelous contributions that the Rotary Club under your leadership has made. I'm proud of you, Eric. And I just think that there aren't words for how emotional I get, because what you have done for us as a role model in our community will stand for time. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we come to you today thanking you for Eric's leadership and the marvelous future he has started to build in certain areas in our community. It's been a very difficult year. It's been a very trying year, but it didn't stop Eric from doing what he promised to do when he first started out. In ways, I'm reminded of some biblical verses where Eric is concerned. In the book of Jeremiah, God said, I know I have a plan for you. And I think this was the plan for Eric. I think this was the time for Eric. And that leads me to Queen Esther, when it was said that she was sent for such a time as this. And so I really do believe that Eric was sent for such a time as this, particularly to get us through this year. Thank you, God, for his insight. Thank you for his accomplishments. Thank you for sending us President Eric for such a time as this. We ask your continued blessings upon him as he continues his life of service above self, through Rotary and through his other contributions to our Yakima community. We ask too your blessings upon the incoming President, Jennifer Gleesner. May she too accomplish great things and carry on through these difficult times as we try to reach some kind of normalcy. Thank you, God, for such a dedicated group of men and women in Rotary Club who work diligently for the greater good of Yakima and for the world. May we continue to be strong, be sensitive, be concerned and caring about our fellow men and women, and above all, be true to our Rotary mission of service above self. Amen.
Thank you very much, Esther. That was quite beautiful, and I'm very happy that you were able to join us and provide that for us. It really is nice. Normally, this is a time when we would talk about club business, but I think today's business, shall we say, is honoring our current president and a future immediate past president. In order to do that, about 3 years ago, we started with a strategic plan that under Kurt's tutelage was formed, under Kelly's was kind of honed, and under mine was begun to be put into implementation. And then you came along and following us in that process, it's really become a revolving thing. So I think it's very appropriate that our next two presenters are the past presidents that preceded me. I'd like to hand things over first to Kurt Laberton, who is going to be talking about one of the big activities that happened under your year, and then to just have a little bit of a fun in the process. And Kurt, if you want to talk about Eric in the process, the mic is yours, sir.
Well, I'm not sure there's enough time for that. Doug, it's got several pages prepared, of course. That's not true. So I think the first thing I'd like to talk about is our project that occurred this year on the time capsule. I believe that's what you're referring to, Doug? Right. So as you know, a number of us have worked off and on a project to send elements of our life in the Rotary currently into the future for 50 years and perhaps another 100 beyond that. So the people that were involved were gathered together to place the elements into the absolutely gorgeous looking capsule that David Brown has prepared for us. So I think I'm going to turn it over to Dwayne, who has a tape of that when we loaded things up the last time we gathered together, and you'll recognize and be introduced to the folks that were helping. some really interesting things came out of that. So I'll mention that on the other side. So Dwayne, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, this is Kurt Laberton, and I'm here to welcome you to the official loading of the time capsule for Yakima Rotary on our centennial. The committee you see behind you consisting of the following people: Dave Brown, who created this wonderful capsule itself, and our president Eric Silvers, Noel Moxley, John Ball, and Daryl Blue have all worked very hard on this through the course of Eric's year, and we're excited to load things up and get going, as we've been saying, into the future. So our plan is that the box you see will live where, John Ball?
Will live in the archives at the Yakima County Museum.
Great. And we'll have access to it there, but it'll eventually be sealed up once the final elements, just a couple more things after today, will be finalized to be positioned inside of it. And it will be opened, we hope, on the 150th anniversary of our club, and then reloaded with our material and the material the club at that point wants to put in. It's a gorgeous box itself, and I'd like Dave Brown to explain how he constructed it and what it's made of. How do you do it?
Well, it's made of cherry. We met before and decided that cherry was the selection from some prototypes I made. It's made from cherry. It has a special lip on top. It's kind of stair steps so no dust can get inside once it's sealed shut. Took me about 4 or 5 days to make it. The wood doesn't match as well as it should because we're in COVID, and I bought this at Hellison's Lumber, the material, and you couldn't get out and select your wood. You just had to tell them what you want, and they put it in your truck, and you left it.
Well, we'll talk to Harry about that. So thank you very much. So we're in great position there. So I'm going to lift this off now. Dave, you'll see inside, when I get this up, that there are 2 compartments in there. We'll load up one now and begin to get ready for what's going to go in there in 50 more years. So here are the elements we're going to put in. The first one, and in no particular order, is an agenda from our club, typical. This was for this year, and this was for our 5th of December meeting as we got ready for the end of the year, just at the peak of the celebrations for our centennial. That goes in. We have a document here that is completed Rotary projects with photos that John Ball has prepared for us. That is going to go in. We have the Centennial Project itself, which, as you know, was our contribution to the Yakima Aquatic Center, Rotary Aquatic Center on 40th, which we are very, very, very proud of. And Bob Romero has given us photographs that were used at the time of the dedication of that project, and we're excited and very proud and happy to be able to put that in. We also have, in a way that's to do something that's kind of fun, asked a number of members of our club to predict what the future will be like 50 years from now for Rotary. Those surveys are contained right in here and labeled as such. And then we have material that relates to the actual celebration. I'd like President Eric to talk about some of those elements that we're going to put in.
So we have a poster from the greatest party ever. And so this is signed by our Rotarians. And so we'll go ahead and put that in there. We also have a photo collection of all the photos from the greatest party ever. So that will also go in there. I also have a photo of our groundbreaking project. We weren't able to complete it because we are in stage 1 or phase 1. And so here's a photo of our groundbreaking for the centennial project that we have at the Martin Luther King Park, doing the playground as well as the picnic shelter. As well as we have a photo of the Black History program that we had in conjunction with the Rotary that we had over at the Greater Faith Baptist Church, and the scene from the play of being able to have the bus boycott that happened. And as well as we also have a photo here of people doing the nice little Feed the 5,000, which ended up being about 40,000 meals that we have.
So outstanding stuff there. It wouldn't be a Rotary event if we didn't put in a blue book that summarizes everyone that was Rotarian during Eric's year, our centennial year. We also have, John Ball was kind enough to give us 2 Rotary wheels that were decorative items, as I recall, on the trees, right, John?
For the greatest party ever.
Greatest party ever. So those go in there. We have a number of things. We have the gavel that was used by this man to my left, President Eric, during his year. His blue pin that will go away as soon as he's elected to past president. I think he's going to make that cut. I'm sure he will. We also have a Rotary pin itself. I don't know if the Rotary pin will change in 50 years, but it might in 100, and this will be reopened in 100 years, we hope. So the Rotary pin goes in. The past president pin that Eric has will go in. We have a summary of the history of our club from 1918 to 1980, which is essentially a priceless document. We want to make sure that stays there. We have the Yakima Herald on the 1st of December, the week and the day that we celebrated our centennial. That goes in, which I'm sure will get lots of interest as people look at it 50 and 100 years from now. And since we're in COVID, a copy of the Yakima Herald, sort of at the early peak of the COVID crisis in our region in the United States, which will also supplement it. And one of the most interesting things we have, I think, is our summary of the past presidents. And Darrell Blue and John Ball both worked very, very hard on this. And gentlemen, Darrell, maybe if you could address how this came to be, because this is worth its weight in gold and more, in my mind.
Sure. We have a list of all of the past presidents of the club in the directory that you've all seen. Every time you check your directory, you'll see all those past presidents there. But you've never seen pictures of most of them. And so with the help of John, my research assistant, doing a lot of digging, we found pictures of all but one of the 100 past presidents of the club. And in the front of the book, there's sort of a photo gallery of every president, just their year and their picture. But then we also were able to dig up a short biography for every single one of the past presidents with their picture, and that's also in the book.
That's amazing.
Many of these biographies read like obituaries because that's what they are, and that's where I found them. But for the more contemporary of our past presidents, we were able to actually put together a real biography, and many of them wrote their own. So this is all put together. We had in the club, over the past 100 years, 10 past presidents, 10 district governors of our district who were also members of our club.
That's the most exciting thing for me to know.
2 of whom were not members of this club until after they were district governor. They were president of some other club.
Oh my gosh.
Art Borghardt, as an example, was president of the Sunnyside Club, but eventually became the governor of this district. So those are all listed in here as well. And interestingly enough, there are 20 of our past presidents who are a member of a father-son team. That is, so of the 20, half are the fathers, half are the sons, and there is one grandson president team.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So they're all identified in this, and that goes in the capsule.
So as you can imagine, that is really priceless information. As we have said, of all the clubs doing centennial work in this era of Rotary, not many could achieve that. And I think we really owe a debt of thanks to Darrell and John for this incredible work and the gift to the future that represents.
The other thing about that that is, I think, important is that also reading that gives you a sense of the history of the community as well, because the club represents the community and a lot of the things that the club has done for the community. And so it's not just those people, it's also what has transpired in the community of Yakima thanks to Rotary.
Yeah. Well, and relating to that, we have a printout here that's going to go in, sort of what you're alluding to, John, of some of the projects, the things that Rotary has touched to affect quality of life in Yakima. That is going in.
And Kurt, one back to the book for a
sure.
moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
October the 27th of 1919, about 24 Yakima business people got together to discuss whether or not they should form a Rotary Club in Yakima. And this is a picture that was taken at that meeting. This is a copy of it. The original is at the museum. Yeah. We know who most of the people are in this picture. About half of them eventually became Rotarians, and so that's going to go in the box as well.
Thank you very much. It would not be complete if we didn't have the official Rotary t-shirt. That's there. They're going to have to fight over who gets to wear that in the future, but it'll probably be one of Harry Hellison's relatives. We know how that goes. We'll put that right there.
Might be Harry.
Harry might have his own at that day. And we also will have going in the proclamation from the City of Yakima declaring it Yakima Rotary Week. So, and the final thing is the license plate holder, as it always should be, the place of honor. So it's a great, great day. Thank you so much to this wonderful committee that worked so hard. Noel, John, Daryl, Dave, who created Eric, and for his guidance and leadership. And here's to the future, and here's to Yakima Rotary on 100 years, just getting started. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We'll see how that next 100 goes compared to what we've already laid the groundwork for. Well done, Kurt.
Thank you.
I understand we have a little entertainment too. Is that right?
Well, yes, it's a little known fact, of course, that Eric is, music is a big, big part of his life, and his connections just stretch all across the continent. It turns out, a little known fact, and I'm pretty sure everything I'm about to say is absolutely accurate, but I may be off a little bit. Eric, it turns out, many people he knows, one is Randy Newman, the composer of all the music for Toy Story. And in one of the early drafts, getting together, discussing possible musical themes for Toy Story, Eric had an idea for a song he called You've Got a Friend in Me, Me and Yakima Rotary. It turned out it was massaged just a little bit for the movie. It couldn't, with the wheels and the dinging and the gavels and stuff, they didn't want to use that. But they did, we have some early versions of it, and we were able to get Charlie Robin and Al Fisher, the incredibly talented pianist, and Charlie's husband, to play the piano for this piece. So this is actually a very little known, hard to get version of You've Got a Friend in Me, inspired, I'm sure, by soon to be past President Eric, sung by Charlie Robin with piano by Al Fisher. We're ready to wait.
You've got a friend in me and Yakima Rotary. When your troubles look awful bad and the thought of doing nothing got you sad, 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 you just remember us and you'll be glad, 'cause you've got a friend in me. Me and Yakima Rotary. You've got a friend in me and downtown Rotary. If you've got worries, well, we've got some schemes. We'll make things happen with our ways and means. We'll work together to fulfill your dreams, 'cause you've got a friend in me and downtown Rotary. Now some other groups might be a little bit bigger than we are, younger and better looking too, but I doubt it. But none of them will care about you the way we do. It's us and you. So as the years go by, our service will never die. You gotta see it's our destiny. You've got a friend in me. You got a friend in us. You got a friend in Rotary, yeah. Rotary. Thank you, Eric.
Fantastic, Charlie. That was crazy. Kurt, well done on those lyrics too. That was a lot of fun.
You can't make it up. It's all true, I'm sure.
I'm sure it is. Well, when we get back together live one of these days, we're going to have a rendition, possibly with the Rotary Choir backing him up or something, high stepping as well. Time for Sergeant at Arms, and I would like to have the immediate past president, Kelly Connaughton, step forward. And let's see if we can't raise a little bit of money for Eric's final meeting for charities. Kelly?
Well done, well done. Alex, I hope you're paying attention to that song, because I can see that being a new Welcome to Yakima sign. You got a friend in Rotary, welcome to Yakima. I can see that all over. And Eric's office is right there by the entrance, so he'll probably change the sign on his business for the whole thing. So we want to have some fun and do a little Sergeant at Arms. I'm doing this live. So bear with me a little bit here. But we want to have some fun with some fun facts of Eric's year. And I really loved the fact that Daryl talked about Eric and his phone, because those of you who are committee chairs know how many times Eric has called throughout the last 12 months. Eric, put the phone down. My gosh, you're going to save so much money on your cell bill from not being president of Rotary. So some fun facts about Eric's year. So why don't all of you take a dollar bill out right now, because at some point we're going to get back together and that money's all going to come in and I'm going to hold you accountable for it. But the first fun fact that I want you to know about is the fact that as soon as Eric was getting close to being president, he decided he was going to celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary and also get to the international conference. So Dwayne, if you want to change the slide, because those of us that were back here at Rotary and actually going to the board meetings and planning for Eric's year, Eric left town. And we found ourselves constantly wondering, where in the world is Eric Silvers? Where in the world is Eric Silvers? So I wanted to ask all of you, we all know that Eric left. He was gone for quite some time. And I'd like you to see, how many of you know how many countries Eric visited on his way to the international conference? Any of you know? All right. And how long were they gone? Any of you know that? The board thinks he was gone for like 10 weeks because we could never find him. So Esther Silvers, could you tell us how many countries you went to and how long you were gone?
5 countries, and we were gone 36 days.
36 days. Oh my gosh. We were lucky Eric even came back, honestly.
Well, I had to drag him back. He didn't want to come back. I said, no, honey, you got to go back. You got to go work.
You got to go. You got to go. Oh, that's great. Dwayne, you can change the slide again. So one of the biggest things that Eric talked about the night we showed up, when he was in his pajamas and we talked about him being Rotary president, the first thing he said in his pajamas in the living room was, do we get to have a party? It was all about the party from the very beginning. I just want you to know that. All this other stuff was just no big deal. It was all about the party. So, as it was stated earlier, what was the theme of that party? The greatest party ever. Such an original name for a party, the greatest party ever. But I want to ask you, how many bands played at that centennial celebration? How many of you know? Show me by the show of your fingers. There were 3 bands. Who can tell me who those bands were? Oh, Carolyn's holding up the cheat sheet there. All right, Eric, why don't you tell us who were those bands, because you knew that night who was going to play at that party.
Bart Roderick's band, the Joe Brooks Quartet. Also, we had American Honey, and we had Gary from Walla Walla. Oh, geez.
The Real Deal.
Thank you, Gary and the Real Deal. Sorry, I forgot the real deal part.
The real deal came. So I hope, I'm asking all of you, did you all go? I know there were some of you that didn't have a chance to make it, but if you missed it, you missed out on the greatest party ever. And as you saw, it just went into the time capsule, so people are going to know about this party. Dwayne, you can go on to the next one. Eric has been all about doing big things in Yakima, and Eric did some big things around the world this year. And all of you, in February, right before all chaos happened, I think this actually started the chaos, Eric. I think you started the chaos with this big event where we did Feeding of the 5,000 was the name of the event. And I think pretty much all of you showed up, and it was a well-oiled machine that afternoon at the convention center. So I want you to think to yourself, how many bags of food were produced on that afternoon? Anybody got a guess? Carolyn always has guess.
Over 45,000.
Carolyn's statistic that she told me was 41,124 bags. All right. Now, those of you who were there, you knew that this was a well-oiled machine because Jim DeGrasse, all he did was schlep beans and rice all day long off of those pallets. So how many of you remember what the sequence was that went into those bags? What were those items and what was the sequence in those bags?
Rice, I think.
Somebody said rice?
Rice, beans.
Rice, beans.
Chicken stock.
Chicken stock.
Veggies.
Protein powder.
Yeah, so it was rice, a scoop of rice. Bob Hall, while I was on our table, he was big into the rice, a scoop of beans, a scoop of spices that had chicken, some chicken bouillon or something in it. And then, yes, there was this heaping scoop of this protein powder that went into that thing, and then it went off to get zip sealed and stacked away. So big things to do here in Yakima in the world, and that was a great event. Congratulations, Eric, on that. So one of my big things I alluded to this last time was meeting preparation. Eric tagged me the first day he was announced president and said, okay, you got to tell me what's the most important thing. And I said, you got to start on time, you got to end on time, dude. This has got to happen. Eric, we're still long. I'm still long today. Meeting time. So Carolyn, what time is the program normally to start at a normal, even a Zoom meeting? When is the program going to start?
12:15.
12:15. All of you have potential to be future presidents. Remember that, 12:15. What time is the meeting scheduled to end, Carolyn?
1:15.
1:15. So when it gets to be 2 minutes after 1, don't y'all just get up and start walking out thinking Eric's gone long. It's 1:15. But Eric likes to go to 1:25. There you have it. Okay, so Eric has had an opportunity to have really two different kinds of presidencies. One in real life and one over the computer. And I'm not even sure Eric is at his own house because he travels so much, he's probably out somewhere. He and Esther, they're not even home. But I thought it would definitely be worth for Eric, particularly since Daryl said during the phone call, Eric just wants to sit at the podium. So I decided we needed to give Eric a rain check for 6 months that he could sit at the podium or be Rotary president for another 6 months. I'm sure there's a lot of presidents that'll give you that over for 6 months. And I just want you to have a rain check, Eric, so you can do this all over again for another 6 months, whenever you want. All right? And lastly, but certainly not least, Eric, we want to say thank you because you have been the perfect leader in this small town doing big things and doing it during big times. You have had consistently a loud voice at a critical time in our community and our country and our world. And you have not wavered one bit. You have stayed strong and you have led us to create lasting and positive change in this community. And I say, thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you very much, Kelly, for that rousing sergeant at arms. And I guess I should have known better, speaking of time, that we've only got 9 minutes left. And whenever you have past presidents involved in a program, they tend to drag on just a bit. But we're now at the point of the program where I would like to acknowledge our president, Eric, and the fantastic job he's done. But it doesn't just start with what you see at the podium. It starts in the home. And I can tell you that Eric is very much a family man. He and Esther have been together for what, 36 years? I think you just had as your anniversary. Is that correct?
32.
Sorry to put you on the spot. But that wonderful union has also produced a couple of great kids who are now grown men and are thriving on their own. And I'm wondering if both Evan and EJ would care to have a few things to say about your dad at this meeting. Evan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you all hear me?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I just want to express just how proud I am for my dad and for all of his accomplishments. And, you know, just when you think that you caught up with him, you know, graduating from university, going ahead and embarking in the State Farm, opening up my own agency, I think that I just got there. And then boom, he just shoots up to Rotarian president and, you know, really just accomplishing a whole lot of things that, you know, I really didn't think that I would see out of Rotary, just because of the fact that, you know, and we've touched on it in this trying moment that, you know, there's just not that many Rotarians that look like us. So just the fact that he was able to have so much accomplishment, so much success in this year, and just being at just the face of the community is just beautiful, because of the fact that for years, decades, generations past here will always be able to look at this year and know that this is what success looks like, and anybody can do it, anyone.
So perhaps this might be the number 11th father-son combination presidency of a Rotary Club. What do you say, Evan?
Oh man, woo, that's put on the spot there. I think my
Sorry
brother
about
has
that.
something to say.
EJ, where are you, sir? Would you care to talk to your old man? Is he still here?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Very good. Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
All right. I mean, I can't echo it enough from what my brother said, but one thing that my dad, I think, has instilled in us is like, nothing's going to be easy. So I think it's only right that arguably probably one of the toughest years you guys have had as far as being different, being unnormal, that he steps in and leads. And trying to say this out being emotional at the same time, but it's pretty powerful to just be able to see everything that's happening in Yakima and getting so much texts, Facebook messages, reposts from all my friends that are still over in Yakima. Just like, man, I didn't even know about Rotary. I didn't know about these opportunities that are happening, and just like being able to see their engagement and their connection with what you guys are doing and all the hard work that you guys are putting in has just kind of given me and my brother a sense of gratitude that we can be able to share our upbringing with you guys and all the hard work that he's put in, day out. It's just been awesome to see. And yeah, I can't thank you guys enough, and look forward to seeing all the work that you guys continue to do day in and day out.
Thank you very much, EJ. Very well stated. And
Can I say something?
who's that?
Ezra.
Yeah.
Oh, please go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Ezra Teshoma. I'm a friend of the family, Eric and Esther. I'm a past district governor, a classmate of Daryl Blue. Daryl and Esther came to Ethiopia with me to do polio vaccination, and your club has also done a wonderful work in the Project Mercy in Ethiopia. And Eric, you have touched so many lives, and appreciate what you have done. And I want to make sure that the kids on this side will join Rotary in our district. So Evan and AJ, you will be invited to Rotary. And thank you, congratulations for the wonderful work that you have done. I'm proud of you.
Thank you very much for jumping in, Ezra. That is very wonderful to hear. Okay, well, Evan and EJ, there's your entrance right there. So get after it, please. You know, it really truly was an unusual and wonderful year. I remember when Eric and I met shortly after he was tapped. He really wanted to know how to do things, and I think the answer I kept giving him back was, do it your way. Because the unique thing about Rotary is you get to know a president on a very intimate level, and we all have our different ways of doing things. Honestly, when I sat down to try to figure out what I was going to say at this meeting, two things came to me. Eric Silvers is a shining light. He thinks big. He wants to do great things and involve as many people as possible in a project. He thinks very differently than I do. I'm a rather linear thinker. Eric dreams. Eric gets out there and swims in the deep ocean where the water's cold, and he'll figure out his way when he gets there. Nobody could have imagined what would have happened when March rolled around and we had a stay-at-home order and then followed by the horrible events that took place in the Midwest and spread quickly throughout the nation. Eric was the shining light that could not be dimmed. And Eric, you truly are the right person to lead this club at this time. I know other people have said this already, but I will certainly echo that this frankly wouldn't have happened the way it did without you, and for that we are eternally grateful. Just a couple of the highlights that occurred during Eric's year. I think, we talked about how he just wanted to throw a party, but the party took many forms. When he said we were going to march in the Sun Fair Parade, I thought he was nuts. I had a blast. I don't know about the rest of you, but we had 100 of us out there marching around, getting to know our community, and instead of tossing candy, we were tossing books out there, doing something good. As literacy is one of our key themes here in the Yakima Club, what a great way to make the rubber hit the road, so to speak. I think we talked about the Feed the 5,000 that turned into 40,000 or 40,000 plus. But we also had some wonderful programs that occurred along the way. We had Shelter Box. We had the WSU President Kurt Schultz speak for the first time to our club. Emily Washeen's talking about missing and indigenous women. There were just so many very important and impactful things that occurred during Eric's year and under his tutelage. Now, I know he was kind of big on 100, and you wanted to see 100 members join the club. I was happy Peter Schultz is able to be at the meeting today, and I'm hoping that there might be some sort of, Canadian adjustment derivative that would make his number get to that 100, perhaps. I know it was a rather lofty goal, but it did cause us to focus on membership. And we ended up with 27 new members and a bunch more sitting in the wings, waiting to come in. Folks, under very difficult economic circumstances, we managed to hold our ground this year. A lot of the other Rotary clubs cannot say that. And so if it wasn't for that big thinking and that bold pursuit of a goal and everyone jumping in and following the leader, as it were, we wouldn't have stayed where we are today. And while we still have challenges left, we're going to be fine. We're going to be just fine. When the COVID-19 crisis came out, Eric just didn't sit back and go, what's going on and what's wrong here? How can we help? And we came up with a number of different ways to do that. We arranged for emergency grants to the Union Gospel Mission and Virginia Mason Memorial for PPE purchases that were purchased by the board. And since we weren't able to gather, we decided, why don't we try to redirect where we do some of our food and meals and encourage other contributions as well. And in that one effort alone, we raised over $62,000 to go to the local food banks here in our area. That is huge. And this is above and beyond what we normally do with our projects and our generous scholarships and things of the sorts. So, and I think if you haven't seen the meeting, go back and look at the meeting of 3 weeks ago. It was the first week in June. This was after all the rioting had occurred. And Eric spoke from his heart about what it's like to be a Black man in this environment in today's world. And you could tell it was authentic and genuine and heartfelt, but he didn't sit there and, turn it on himself. He reminded us that we are Rotary, and Rotary has to direct this. We are apolitical, we are areligious, we are here to serve our communities. And under his suggestion, we have formed an ad hoc committee that is going to look at how we evolve and change as a community. And it isn't just a color of skin question, it's everything that is going on in our community. Are we going to be truly reflective of what Yakima looks like? And we as Rotary are the perfect vehicle to do that. In closing to my comments, I mentioned that early meeting that I had with Eric, and I said, I am really, really looking forward to your year. And in fact, I think I might actually, in your honor, get my very first tattoo putting your slogan on my arm. But when you came back with, we are a big club in a small town with a big heart doing big things locally and around the world, Eric, my arm simply isn't that long, buddy. Sorry about that.
You're going to have to put it all the way across your back.
Maybe I'll use a henna instead. Sonia might be able to help me with that. Okay, we still do have a couple of other past presidents in the room that I would like to give opportunity to say a few words about Eric if they're willing. And I think I'd like to start with his manager, Peter Schultz, who is the current district governor from the Kelowna area. Peter, are you still on, and would you care to say a few things to Eric?
Sure. So Eric, thanks for doing a great job. And I gather from the meeting I've heard today, thanks for actually being there to be at your thank you meeting. No, I think it's been a great year for the Yakima Rotary Club. I've enjoyed getting to know you over the course of this year, starting from, I guess, pets last year and beyond. And you came at this with a humility that I think is admirable, because you did such a great job that you came into the presidency with the boots of a big man, but you sure didn't talk like that. You just guided the team, I guess. And I think that's what Rotary is all about. The more people can do a good job of guiding the team, the more we can all do the best we can do to make everything better. So thanks for doing that.
Thank you very much, Peter. Hey, John Atkinson, I see you in center screen. Would you care to say a few things to Eric? Let's see if I can unmute you. Okay, you're ready to go. Maybe we're both trying to unmute you and I keep muting you. There you go, John.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, Eric, I admire your passion, and I would congratulate you on the organization and your diligence. You've demonstrated significant positive things for Rotary and the concept of Rotary leadership. So I thank you for what you've done, and you're a true Rotarian. I'd hold you up as an example to anyone. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Craig Mendenhall, would you care to say a few things to Eric, please? I think you're still muted as well. There we go.
Perfect. Yeah, I think Eric's done an extraordinarily good job, and I think that Jim Smith, 3 or 4 weeks ago, did a really good job of describing how unique not only Eric was, but the circumstances under which he's been serving. And I, like so many of the other past presidents, are proud to count him among my friends. So thank you again, Eric.
Thank you, Craig.
And I thank you very much, Craig. And I believe Ken Marble is still here. Ken, would you care to close us out with some comments to Eric, please?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Eric, you've done a wonderful job. You know, I think every Rotary president sort of hits their stride somewhere maybe mid-year, and you certainly were hitting your strides. You know, the centennial events and the greatest party ever, and then just right on into March. And the only regret I have is that we couldn't finish the year in person with you, because it would have been a strong finish, and your leadership in these times, these challenging times, would have been fabulous for the whole club and community to see. But you did a wonderful job. I was part of that Project 5000, and that was one of the coolest things I've ever been part of as a Rotarian. And I did a little math. I think those packets fed 5 or 6 people, and with over 40,000 packets, Yakima Rotary under your leadership fed roughly 250,000 people. I don't know if any president has impacted that many people in the world other than you, and I thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Ken. That was very nice from all of you as well. Well, I am proud to report one thing to you, President Eric, that the chat room has exceeded 100 comments. So hopefully the recording, you'll be able to see what those are in real time as well, but they're very flattering to tell you truly loved. Eric, the floor is yours. Congratulations on a very unusual and a very wonderful year. Would you care to chat with your club?
Wow, gosh. Okay, Kelly, I'm looking at the time. I'm already over, okay? Just wanted you to know that. But Past President Doug, thank you very much for a wonderful, wonderful program. It's been an incredible year. You know, it's to be president of the Yakima Downtown Rotary. I've learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my Rotary Club and also about my community. You know, I'm really thankful that you let me lead this organization of my friends. A special thank you goes out to Carolyn, oh my gosh, our executive director, I call her ED, for all the things that she's done. You know, she had a hand in every wonderful thing that happened this year. Okay, her hands was in there. I always said 99 pounds and you can just boss me around all the time, but you did an excellent job. And you know, everybody's wondering about finances. We are in incredible shape, and that's because of Carolyn. So don't let this pandemic scare you. We got this. She's got this. I want to say to my wife, Esther, to my sons, EJ and Evan, and to the family who put up with hearing my vision constantly, and also my lack of sleep, because I'd walk around the house thinking this would be fun to do. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And you know, all the times that we had to do that just to be able to enhance this Rotary. I mean, this is a full-time position, and I took it on. I wanted to, you know, be the best. I wanted it to be the best. You know, my office team, despite losing two producers, we still accomplished all of our personal and business goals this last year. To my mentors, Dave Dion, oh my goodness, Esther Huey, my two new mentors that rose to the top, past President Kurt and past District Governor Daryl Blue, you guys are awesome. Our Rotary board members who stood by my crazy ideals, and they never squandered any of them. They just said, hey, we haven't tried it, so let's go ahead and try it. You know, our committee chairs, our co-committee chairs, they were thinking outside the box, that innovative thinking, you know, the great programs that they were able to put on. We're talking about President-elect Jennifer and John Cooper, you know, the wonderful fellowship ideals. I couldn't ask for more cooperation and willingness to be able to move forward, even during this pandemic. You know, our past presidents, you guys were unique and gave so much support and encouragement. You are my best friends. We had a lot of fun doing that 6 seat and putting that greeter seat together. Quinn, I still remember Quinn saying, you mean you're gonna have me be a greeter? I said, but it's going to be the most important thing to be able to do in the club, to be able to get the people excited. Dwayne Monick, oh my gosh, doctor, thank you for being a consistent, steady hand at getting us back and running, you know, despite this pandemic. I mean, from Zoom to YouTube to the website to Facebook. I mean, it was one of my goals at the beginning of the year to be able to be back on TV, but I didn't think that we'd have to have a pandemic to be able to do that. But, you know, on behalf of the board, we do have a special gift for you, you know, with your service above and beyond, and a consistent service. You know, my Rotary project, the picnic shelter and the playground at Martin Luther King Park, where I grew up, and the community is so excited about it. The kids are so excited about it. You know, we're just really on hold until we can get the nod, but I hope that you guys will don your shirts and get out there with a 2-week warning, so that way we can get out there and build that for those kids. The community is waiting. We're waiting. We're under budget. I mean, everything is purchased. We're ready to go. The sign is made. We just got to get the nod to be able to do that. You know, to be able to have this racial pandemic also that happened to our nation. But the neat thing about our members is that they listened to what I said over the last 3 weeks, and they requested that the board form an ad hoc committee so we can brainstorm to action. We will address these issues in Yakima, and we are going to be a catalyst for change. Yakima, you should know that, you know, we were on the media so many times. I think that we hit every branch of the media. President-elect Jennifer, I look forward to your leadership of this organization, and I support you, and I will cooperate with you, and I will give you our best. We expect that it's going to be one of the most fantastic years ever. And you guys, I don't want to get emotional here, but I'm over 60, so I can do that. But I just want you to know that you guys are fantastic, and I look forward to being able to join you, sitting out there and talking to you. But this has been one heck of a ride, and thank you for everything. You guys are my friends.
Bravo, President Eric. I see a lot of clappy hands going on in the gallery. Well, I guess now we've kind of got to hold the vote. So all the past presidents of the Yakima Club, should we welcome Eric into our company? Thumbs up. I see a whole bunch of thumbs. Eric, welcome to the Past Presidents Club. We'll be chatting with you next week. Speaking up next week, this is going to be the inaugural meeting of our incoming president, Jennifer Bleesner, and I know it's going to be an exciting day, and I hope everyone is here. So before I conclude the meeting, I just would encourage everybody, if you want to, maybe Dwayne, you could unblock everybody, and I would encourage you all to just stick around and have a chat with Eric for as long as you want. This meeting is adjourned. Congrats, buddy.